to fight? Or you want to win? Last night I had a dream that the world had turned around. All our hopes had come to be. The revolution starts now. What a swell party this is.
Hello and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And this week on the show, we are talking about the Andor Season 2 trailer, baby. It's back.
It's the perfect occasion for the air horns.
Yeah. What a treat. The week of the Mask of Fear.
I know. The corporate synergy goes crazy.
Who could have thunk? I mean, to be honest, of all the batshit crazy theories that we produce on this show, an Andor trailer the week of the Mask of Fear releasing on bookshelves should have been probably the number one theory that we had. And yet.
It was so funny. I was like just working away, having a little Mondays, case of the Mondays. And then I like click on my phone just to see the time or something. And I went, an Andor trailer? This Monday morning? What? I was so confused.
I kind of feel...
I was so shocked.
I kind of feel like a boomer because I actually found out about it from the like StarWars.com email.
That is so funny. I even texted you, but no, it was an email notification.
Is that me being like not as chronically online anymore that I'm like, oh, I got an email about a trailer?
But you got the email notification on your phone, so...
True. But like I'm not on Twitter with notifications, so it's not as real time, I would say, as like Blue Sky, because Star Wars doesn't even have a Blue Sky account yet. So like I don't know. What are they doing?
Star Wars doesn't even have a Blue Sky. Wow, I didn't even know that. I mean... Not that I'm really following any corporate on the small amount of accounts I follow on Blue Sky are, mostly friends and things. But wow, corporate is behind. Get on it.
Like corporate. I don't want to give a little retweet, a little like, but I can't do that, and I can't share the official trailer in its full glory, 1080p glory. It's like some bootleg version on Blue Sky.
But I guess the good thing is, they don't depress links on Blue Sky. So if you were like gonna pop that trailer in a little Blue Sky tweet, your pals will see that. It doesn't happen on Twitter.
True. Yeah. But hey, Andor's back.
That's right.
I'm very happy.
It's officially Andor season, which
great.
It's crazy because I'm a little bit like, oh God, it's happening. Even though I've been like, when's it happening? When's it happening? When's it happening? For like the past 3 months. Like it's weird to finally be in it, even though I've been anticipating it for so long at this point.
Right. Yeah, we have like 1 or 2 more episodes to record. And then we're kind of all Andor mode, which should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, go
maybe
for
some
it.
of our plans impromptu. Why don't you do the honors of talking about our April plan? Do you have anything on the calendar in April? Sarah?
Do I have anything on the calendar in April? As she says, as she stares at her printed out April 2025, like from no sponsor, grabcalendar.com with 2 weeks of April just kind of highlighted completely. No plans. It's not like I've had that printable calendar out just directly behind my work desk setup for the past like 4 months. Longer than that. No plans. Nothing happening in April. What about you? Anything happening for you in April?
No, I'm staying right here in the US.
Right.
Nothing going on in the world of Star Wars. That's it.
There's nothing happening. Anyway, so in addition to traveling across the world and vacationing and attending Star Wars Celebration, we also have planned, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe, Andor April.
TM.
Yeah, that's right. It's Andor April air horns, trademark.
Yeah, we don't have copyright to the word Andor, but we have copyright to Andor April together.
And then the air horn noise.
Actually, the L in April is a 1. or it's a capital I. So technically we don't have to trademark April. It's just Andor April.
Well, that, and then it's not actually Andor. It's and then the O is a 0.
It's a little 0.
Yeah. Andor, Disney's got. Anyway,
it's actually so funny. Don't give me ideas.
we have so much happening, and it's all Andor. It's like all Andor from here on out. And so we're gonna be doing a rewatch, and we will be talking through the rewatch, not like live reactions, but some recaps to our rewatch, and those are going to be exclusively on our Patreon. So if you're interested in those, that's where to find those. But the meat of our Andor April will of course be available for absolutely everybody, because who doesn't want to join in on Andor April right here on the podcast feed? We will be starting off with a discussion on the Mask of Fear, which came out right now. It's out right now. Please go buy it for the love of God. It's so good. It's so very good. You will enjoy it. If you like Andor, you'll like Mask of Fear. This is just do yourself a favor. Okay, please. Thank you. And then we will be having more episodes all around Andor in the month of April. I know. Crazy news. It's not as if we said Andor April like 25 times in the past 4 minutes, including, the season 2 preview, including hopefully, depending on how everything shakes out at Celebration and Beyond, the first block of episodes as well. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're getting four Patreon episodes, which we've been getting some patrons lately. So go check us out. We're releasing more stuff this year. It's a high priority for us to, get some stuff out. And I'm excited to do a rewatch and talk about it once again.
Yeah.
We'll be going arc by arc. But yeah, and I guess Andor April started a little early because we released our Alexander Freed interview today. So consider it a Andor February treat.
Well, it's like it's always Andor. It's always Andor here. And
Right.
sometimes, the Andor may be a little bit behind the scenes, just behind the curtain, especially when we're talking about High Republic, right? Like, these are things that we kind of just do all the time, but Andor's back, peeking their head out of the curtain, ready to take center stage. So this is the moment. This is the moment for sure.
I'm extremely Andor pilled right now. I'm the most Andor pilled I've ever been. It's like in The Matrix when what did he take? The red pill? Was it the red pill that he took?
I've seen all of those movies, but only once. So
yeah,
don't
I'm pretty
ask
sure
me
it's
questions.
I'm pretty sure it's the red pill. The accepting the difficult truth. But for me, the truth is that I'm always thinking about Andor. So it's like in The Matrix, except if he gave Neo the entire bottle of pills and they were all labeled Andor and I'm Neo in the situation. Is his name Neo? Oh my God, it's been so long since I've watched The Matrix. But anyways, the analogy here is that I would eat the whole bottle of pills. That's how
you're eating
Andor
pills?
pilled I am.
You eat pills.
Andor pills.
Andor pills. Okay, got it. All
They're
right.
just full of sugar.
Right. That's right.
They're vitamins. Where are the Andor vitamins?
Like the branded shaped ones.
Yes.
Like the
What are we doing
the Flintstone
as a
vitamins.
society?
We could have like Stormtrooper helmet vitamins.
Why don't we have
Rebellion.
Andor
Oh my God.
vitamins?
I would be getting all my nutrients if I had like the Flintstone vitamins, but they were all Star Wars shapes.
Like rebellions are built on hope. You could do like rebellions are built on getting your daily dose of vitamin D. Like there's just the marketing potential. Like what are we doing?
I don't know if kids would really like grab onto that because that's probably, product aimed towards children. But I'm buying into that. They should make them. I'd buy them.
All I'm saying is the revolution starts now.
Right.
And it starts with vitamins.
That's
Gummy form,
that's exactly
bar form, whatever you want.
Right.
But let's talk about the actual revolution, which is Andor season 2.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about Andor April, which is funny because we were planning out our whole year and we're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do 12 weeks of Andor plus all the High Republic books coming out, plus a bunch of Acolyte tie-in novels, plus a Bad Batch novel, plus interviews that we want to do. And then Lucasfilm was like, but wait, actually, you're only getting 4 weeks of Andor. And then at first I was like, no, shakes fist at the sky like Darth Vader in Rots.
Right.
But then I thought about it and I was like, wait, hold up. So you're telling me we haven't had a Star Wars movie in 6 years, which is just an abject failure of giant IP.
I'm sorry,
but now we're getting
a Star Wars movie in 6 years.
pretty much.
Sorry, that's
And
actually
now you're telling me
that's actually hitting me in real time. Holy cow. It's been a minute.
I know, and the last one was The Rise of Skywalker. Think about that. Think about that for a second.
Oh, Lord.
And now you're telling me that beginning in April, we are getting the equivalent of one Star Wars movie a week for 4 weeks. I'm in.
That's fucked. And by fucked, I mean so very my thing. Let's go. Like, it clears up our summer in ways that I really have only gratitude for. Genuinely, because covering a show week to week is kind of an all-encompassing, it feels like an all-encompassing sort of thing. But holy cow, all of our recap episodes are going to be 2 hours long. There's no way that
you think I think over. How are we going to cover potentially 3 hours of Star Wars in 1 week?
Oh boy.
Wild. No, we're going to have to really outline these because oof.
Yeah. No, I'm really, once I realized it was like, oh, we're getting a movie every week for 4 weeks, I was like, wait a second. There might be some real upsides and real interesting points to this. So I'm really excited about the release schedule. And at the same time, I am sad because it does mean that it is over much more quickly, which is like a huge shame. But I am very excited about back-to-back movies, essentially. Especially with the binge model being what it is. And I've recently gotten into both Silo and Severance, and I have functionally binged both of those shows. I function really well when I get the full story in one go. So to know that we're going to get the full arc in one go is nice for my brain.
Yeah, I wonder how it's going to hit getting all 3 of those, because when we watched, I guess season 1, we just got the first arc, the Ferrix arc together. I thought that was very effective, and I don't know if the show would have had as much of a strong start if we only did it 1 episode at a time, right? And to get that whole arc of, here is Cassian Andor's life, here is an inciting incident that puts him on the run, and here is how he leaves Ferrix for better days ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think getting all of that at one time really just made for effective storytelling. So now to get that every week, it'd just be really interesting to have that experience, that event, right? All of us coming together once every Tuesday night and we're buckling in and watching a Star Wars movie together, and that's pretty cool. When are we going to get that again? And I'm a little bit of a cynic, and I'm kind of worried about the future of not only Star Wars TV, but TV in general.
Right.
So,
sure.
This could be, one of the greats. I mean, it is one of the greats, but it could be one of the greats for a long time until something even better comes along or as good. And that's to be determined. But Andor has hit a spot for me that I didn't think was possible. It's made me fall in love with Star Wars over and over again. We're in a little bit of a lull right now, and seeing that trailer this week reminded me hey, there is something to love, and this is for you.
Yeah.
And I was very happy, and I needed that reminder to be hey, this is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Because shit feels bleak, and I just need a little sliver of joy in my life.
Well, that sliver of joy is the fictional Rise of Fascism. Yay!
Yes, but the rebellion wins, remember? They win.
They win in the end, and then Palpatine returns some years later.
Somehow.
and then they win again only after the death of Kylo Ren, Rey's Force dyad other half. It's fine.
Star Wars is for kids.
Star Wars is for kids. Between this and
so-
Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars is for kids. Yeah. Anyway,
Star Wars is for kids.
yes, this trailer. Do we want to talk about it?
Yes, let's do it. Let's jump in. So I think the first thing to call out is probably the tone of the trailer. You watched the season 1 trailer, teaser, and full trailer again before we recorded. And this is much more tonally different. So I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll give my thoughts. But what was your initial gut reaction to like the overall vibe of this?
Oh, you shouldn't have started with me in that case. It's fine. We're gonna roll with it. But you're gonna have to pick the tone back up a little bit in a second. I was actually really kind of taken aback by the tone of this trailer. Once I watched through it, I sat with it for a second longer and got it. Like it clicked a little bit for me in a way that it didn't right when I hit play. But it is totally different. Watching the season 1 trailers back, they are such huge tone setters, and they're very serious, and they're very like, ooh, bad things are happening and bad things are coming, but maybe there are some people who want to rise up. And this is like very confident and very established, and very like, we're cool, we roll, you know? And that's not a bad thing, but it did catch me a bit off guard, especially knowing the tone of the show itself and kind of how season 1 played out. But then I remembered the cultural and political moment that we're in. And I thought maybe doing the same thing that they kind of did for season 1, which was like set the tone, give us a little bit of the plot, a little bit of like the everybody's suffering sort of, wouldn't have been the move. So
yeah, like maybe we needed a little pick me up with some good Steve Earle music.
Yeah, The Revolution Starts Now is the song that plays under the trailer, and it is an apt pick, especially considering like the structure of this season is different from the structure of season 1, which again with the release schedule, like this is new territory that we're all walking into as fans, which is really interesting for the show. But like we are seeing an Andor that is more established over the course of this series. We're gonna walk all the way up right until Rogue One, which is his death. So like
yeah, us waving goodbye to Cassian as we're like, goodbye, have fun at the Rings of Catherine.
Right. Good Lord.
Episode 12.
That's the worst thing I can think of. It's happening.
And Bale's gonna be waving. He's gonna be like, see ya. We'll see you in 20 minutes after you kill your friend. And we bring in Jen Erso.
Maybe he is in the series. You should know, everybody, that I keep saying that Bale's not in the series. And Brad goes, he's in it. Duh, he's in it. And I'm like, well, what if he's not? Like, what if he's not? Like, I am such a Jimmy Smits fan. I'm such a Bail Organa fan. Like, I can't kind of say that he's going to be in it and then get my hopes up and then feel really sad when he's not in it. But you are right that he's the one that kind of like gives the mission.
Can I just say also, like, let's just acknowledge the fact that this is a Bail Organa side tangent. He runs the Fulcrum program, which Cassian is a Fulcrum agent.
Yeah, I know.
He is on Yavin with Cassian when they bring back Jyn.
Yeah.
K2 bring back Jyn. We just had a trilogy of books, one of which released today featuring Bail Organa. That's a choice.
Listen, I know.
All signs point to Bail.
And here's the thing. I love on this podcast taking the losing bet. And I'll be delighted if I lose this bet. Like, I'll be so thrilled. I'll be thrilled. But like, I can't get my hopes up and say, oh, he's in it for sure. Because when he's not, then I'm not as sad. Okay. I'm just a girl out here protecting her heart. Okay.
Listen, in 2022, we had a banger year. We went to a celebration together.
Mm-hmm.
We hosted a panel.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing 2 of those things. It was a prequel anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prequel anniversary this year. And guess what? Bail Organa appeared in a live action Star Wars TV series. It happens every 3 years. Bail Organa, Jimmy Smits, he shows up.
I hope so. But like, I can't.
He's in the building.
Hope so. I hope he's in the building. Good Lord. But like, I can't. Do you know who's not in the Mask of Fear? Luthen Rail. Okay.
He doesn't need to be.
Does Bail need?
He'll be in there.
Does Bail need?
He'll be in there in the 3rd book. 3rd book, Luthen will show up. I bet you. But anyways, we're we're speculating on that trilogy, which we'll dive into on a separate episode.
Anyway,
But-
okay. But
Yeah.
whether or not Bale is in this trailer well, he's not in the trailer, but if he's in the show is TBD. And this, getting back to the point which we were kind of attempting to get at before, like this is a much more established Andor. This is a much more confident time in the rebellion as we jump years through the arcs. So it makes sense that the trailer feels like this at the same time. And also, it's like, hey, remember this really good show that everybody liked? She's back, baby.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts on the tone of the trailer, and I, for one, love the trailer. 10 out of 10. I've watched it an unhealthy amount of times in the last 24 hours. But for me, I think, well, one, Skeleton Crew also used Major Tom for their trailer.
Right.
So I think Star Wars is also maybe trying to not take itself so seriously with these trailers sometimes. And I think I love the Andor season 1 trailer, but at the same time, season 1 did really set the tone for what the show is and the quality of the show and the prestige level of writing and directing that it had. And to open up this trailer with a like alt country song, and the first words that we see are, the first season of Andor is hailed by critics everywhere. And that's not even a pull quote. That's just Lucasfilm putting that out to say, we know Andor
Also
was
the
critically acclaimed.
Yeah, and it's
And it's
the truth.
Yeah. So for me, how I read this trailer was like, Andor has nothing to prove. Like it definitely has to prove they can stick the landing, which it absolutely will, because we still have Gilroy, and in Gilroy we trust. But it has nothing to prove in the sense that it's earned its stripes. And so for me, this trailer was like different to say, we're back. This is our homecoming. You've missed us. We know you've missed us. We know Andor was amazing. Look at all these pull quotes of how good the show is. We're back, baby. We're
back,
coming back.
baby.
And to me, that was like all I needed was to hear, like, we see you, Andor pilled, Andor brained person. We're here for you in April, by the way.
Specifically.
And I thought that was effective. And I'm sure we'll get one more trailer that maybe is a different tone and is more about possibly like big plot points of the show and maybe highlights different aspects of it. But for me, it just personally worked. And I really love, the song choice, looking through some of the lyrics and just listening to the song over and over. I was walking down the street in the town where I was born. I was moving to a beat that I'd never felt before. So I opened up my eyes and I took a look around. I saw it written across the sky. The revolution starts now. It kind of goes on. And, the revolution starts in your own backyard, in your own hometown. What are you doing standing around? And to me, it's acknowledgement of what Cassian went through in the first season of his radicalization, to say it starts in Ferrix. It starts in your hometown. That's where the revolution begins. That's how the rebellion begins. It's small acts of insurrection that are going to be too much for the Empire because they just underestimated the Ferrixes of the galaxy and the peoples of the Ferrixes of the galaxy. And I love the song choice because of that reason. It's like, we're here. It's now. It's beginning. We're no longer building up to that point. It's in motion. That's exciting for me.
Yeah. It does. It makes me wonder, kind of, everybody that we see in this trailer, where they are at now, or where they are at in the time that we see them, right? Because we know that we're jumping a number of years between every arc, but we see everybody. Andor, Saw, Mon, Luthen, Bix, Krennic, Deidre, K2, Cyril, Edie, Melshi, Brasso, no B2 emo, but hope's not lost. I refuse. B2 emo, I love you. But like
where is B2?
Where is he? But we see everybody. So it makes me wonder how alliances has shifted, where everybody's at, if the situation and circumstances of the first season, what paths they have taken since those moments. And I'm really excited to kind of discover that in just a couple weeks. Holy moly.
who were you most excited to see in this trailer? And I know it's a lot of the shots are very, very brief, but you know, again, we got everybody, and this is the first time we're seeing a lot of people outside of promo stills. Like we've seen Krennic on the cover of Empire magazine, right? So that was no surprise, but who were you happy to see?
Mon Mothma, obviously.
Yeah.
Mon Mothma, I love you. Also, I forgot how much I missed my pathetic little Empire guy, Cyril Karn. I really do love him, and I love how pathetic he is. He's so perfect. He's so ridiculous. He's so absurd. And he's wearing a little tie, a little Star Wars little tie. And that just really delighted me. And I look forward to seeing what happens to him, because he really could go any direction. He's really one of those characters that I think could end up on either side by the end of this, depending on who gets to him, you know?
I want to talk about that for a minute, and then we can jump over to Mon, because Cyril is in one shot of this trailer, or possibly two. I do want to call out the tie. Yes, it's been so long since we saw the sizzle reel at Celebration London, like almost 2 years at this point, when we first saw him in this tie in this exact outfit.
God.
And I'm just so happy.
And by we, I mean
get to see it.
I forgot that existed because I watched a bootleg of that.
For legal reasons, you're kidding, of course.
I'm hugely joking. Yeah, but you're the one who really
who
saw
amongst
it.
us wouldn't hypothetically watch whatever version we could get our hands on if we weren't in attendance, hypothetically speaking? But
what I'm saying is, like, you know, autoplay is on Twitter.
Right.
I'm just out here scrolling.
Sometimes it just pops up and you
Right.
don't expect it. I think that trailer was probably more of what you would have expected out of the first trailer. And I think it's because we already got that. And of course, you know, it was for the attendees. So I think that will be more along the lines of what we get for a second trailer, that kind of like Nicholas Bertel score sort of focused trailer.
Yeah, and
but anyways, I digress. There.
And no, but I also think that like this trailer and its tone is ultimately important because of the moment that we are in. I think if things had turned out differently in the US at particular moments, say in November, that this trailer might have taken a different tone. And I genuinely believe that, because the tone of the first season is so serious, and also the tone as you're describing it of that Celebration trailer was also serious. But we were in a different moment when that Celebration trailer came out too. And so I think people need something that feels like it's going to lift them up, even if we're going through a really dark time, even if their characters are going through a really dark time. There's got to be some hope in that. And the season 1 trailers give you more of like the desperation and the heaviness, the weight of the moment than the hope. Like it's there, but it's not the lingering feeling that you're left with. It's like, wow, we're in a bad situation and people are going to help, but we're in a bad situation. Whereas like this one is positioned as like, there are people who are going to help in your bad situation. Does that make sense? It's like a little, it's like a little difference, but it is an important difference of what they're leading with.
Totally. Getting back to Cyril. So we get that shot of him at the end, but I have a theory that
Let's hear it.
At the beginning of this trailer, we get this dialogue from Cassian where he says, "We're at war. Do you want to fight or do you want to win?" And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And there's a shot of him where he looks like he's in his little orange jumpsuit that we see him in the TIE Fighter. So clearly it's happening within whatever that arc is of the TIE Fighter sequences. And he's talking to somebody on the right-hand side of the screen. And I'm trying to figure out, like, who would he be saying this to? And my tinfoil hat theory is he's saying it to Cyril, because it looks like Kyle Solar. We only see the silhouette basically, and some of the ear and the head or the hair, and he is wearing the same kind of looking outfit, that orangey outfit. I don't know if you think that could be him, but I was thinking, well, if he's saying, do you want to fight or do you want to win? I think maybe this is a bargain that he tries to strike with Cyril to say, like, we ultimately are both going to be fighting the Empire. You think you're buddy with Daedra and that you're good with the Empire, but they'll turn your back on you the moment they can.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to fight us two? Do you want to fight? Or do you want to win and fight the Empire together?
I think it's possible that it could be Melshi. And I don't know why he would be saying that to Melshi, but all I'm saying is I think it could be Melshi. But I think it would be compelling if it were someone we wouldn't expect to ally with Cassian like that. And he's trying to convince somebody of something. So it could happen. I could see it.
And I guess it depends if you believe Cyril Redemption is coming in season 2. And not that he would be fully redeemed, but I think at what point does he realize he's more of a tool of the Empire than he is a value or an asset?
Right.
And does he decide to just throw it all away? It'll be interesting.
As we keep talking about this, I keep like playing the trailer on repeat. And every time I think, I'm like, this goes with this shot and this goes with this shot. And these characters are here, but we don't see them in any other context. So are they only in this, are they only in these 3 episodes? Who knows?
Which, by the way, we get some TIE fighter footage and Cassian's in that same jumpsuit and they're on some sort of hay fields planet.
Yeah.
Which I just love the one shot of like on the side of the TIE fighter going in and shooting the missile at the convoy. Like that's just so cool. It's just so awesome looking.
I was like, wait a second. Is this my guy Cassian in the TIE fighter right now? Shooting this convoy?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how does he get in the TIE fighter? That was the question I was having while watching it.
You said some people were speculating this place could be Hetzal or something.
Yeah, it was a speculation that I saw from a friend Alan on Twitter, and he was like, "If this is Hetzal," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if it is? Just for shits and gigs, like what if? What if Brazzo's on Hetzal?" I was like, I'll spontaneously combust if that is the truth. So.
Right. Oh, right. Because we see another shot of Brasso where he's in the same area and they're with the stormtroopers.
Great.
Looks like they're taking him into custody or something, which worries me.
Yeah. Like I feel pretty confident that Bix isn't going to make it. He's got to have some trauma, Cassian's got to have some trauma. And I feel like it's got to be her death that's going to really bother him for a while. As much as I don't want that to happen because Bix is great. But like Brasso's got to live. You can't kill Brasso.
Right? He hit a cop with a brick. You can't let him die.
Yeah, we love him. He's a legend. So, who knows? But please don't kill Brasso. At Lucasfilm, at Tony Gilroy.
That's my big question going into this season is just how many people does Cassian lose by the end? And then how does that inform his mindset in Rogue One where he's basically willing to give his life knowing it's a suicide mission? Because maybe at that point he has lost everybody. So what is there to lose except the fight?
I'm fine.
Oh man, I'm fine. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You're really making me remember that we're basically filling in all of the big gaps of his life until his death in this season. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's not. We live. But
hey, some of us
ouch.
are having a good time. And that person is Mom Mothma because she's doing a little dancey dance.
I am here to
say, talk about Mothma for a bit?
She is not having a good time. She is
She's having a little good time for a little bit.
This is the worst day of her life. This is like straight up the worst day of her life. But she's got to do the thing that she does, just put on a little face and literally do a little dancey dance, because I feel very confident in saying that this is the wedding of her daughter to that guy's son, and that sucks. Thank you.
I would almost 100% say it's the wedding because I think I paused one of the shots and zoomed in and I saw her at like the center of the crowd. So yeah. Lita.
And
definitely.
I am upsetio spaghettio. I think it was Charlotte and Caitlin that were tweeting back and forth, and I said, take that back. Take it back. I don't want to think these thoughts. But alas, I think I am stuck thinking these thoughts. I think they're going to happen to me. And I have a great feeling it'll be devastating. Also, who's all there? Krennic is there. Is Cassian there?
Seemingly. Well, that's what I want to ask, is there's a shot early in the trailer where you see Mon at the wedding turning towards the camera, and it looks like she's almost upset by what she's seeing or who she's seeing. So like, maybe it's not upset, but it's almost like a concern. So is it like an Imperial, or is it somebody who is showing up and she recognizes, oh shit, they're here. This place is about to turn upside down if they're here. And that could be Saw. It could be Cassian. I think it's probably just Cassian. Like, and she's just thinking in her mind, oh God, what have I signed up for?
If you look at the final shot of him doing a little smirky smirk, he's definitely in the same style of clothing as the Chandrillin style. So
100%.
That should be interesting.
It should be.
That should be very fascinating. I'm a little scared.
And if you connect that with the very first shot of the trailer where he's walking and we're behind Cassian and he's like carrying a bag, and I think that's the same outfit as the wedding outfits, and the environment, there's people walking around, and a lot of the structure outside looks similar to other shots in the trailer where there are like people rioting.
Right. Outdoors.
So that's where I'm starting to connect dots of like, what happens at this wedding?
Right.
Is this like the most, wild episode of Wedding Crashers?
It kind of feels
the Wedding
like
Crasher arc.
That feels like might be where we're heading on that. But yikes. Yikes is all I have to say. Also, it's so... Sorry, now I'm rewatching the trailer again. I'm going to pivot slightly if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, I didn't even... Krennic, and especially K2, I like literally wasn't even phased. Like the timelines have already blended together so well in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, of course they'd be there. Duh.
How exciting.
Of course. K2's in this season. I know that's been talked about for a really long time at this point, but like, oh yeah. Of course. Cyril and K2 exist in the same universe. Duh.
Right. Naturally. I love Krennic saying, what a swell party, which does make me think he is at the wedding for sure. He's totally there.
He's there. And it's a hostile situation.
Yeah. I just, if you had told me in 2016 that like almost 10 years from now, we'd be getting more Ben Mendelsohn standing on a Star Destroyer in front of the Death Star, like, hello?
Oh my gosh. It has almost been a decade, hasn't it, since Rogue One?
It really has. Yeah.
Wow.
We're coming up on the 10-year anniversary very soon.
You know what that means? Do you know what that means? Broadscope? It's been 10 years of my very active Star Wars fandom. Like, I've been a Star Wars fan for longer than that. And I obviously got back into things when the prequels started. So like or not the prequels, the sequels started, which is 10 years this year. And I was like a fan as a kid. But like Rogue One marks 10 years of like active participatory fandom for me.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel kind of old, to be really honest with you.
Maybe I'm too old for the Star Wars. Nah, never.
No.
Nah, we're not going anywhere.
For as long as our dear fellow Star Wars friends who were alive in 1977 say I was alive to go to, like I went to episode 400 times, the year it came out. None of us are too old for Star Wars.
One thing I want to call out here, so seeing the Death Star, right? Like we saw that in the zinger of the season 1 finale, and we're seeing it here. It's on the poster, right? Cassian's face is superimposed over it.
Don't talk to me.
They're not being subtle, which like again, he was on Narkina 5, he was helping to build the weapon that kills him. There's some poetry there. The Death Star is the end game, right? So as much as season 1 was kind of this, like, it felt separate, didn't feel like a Star Wars show, I think we're going to get more things that feel connected
Mm-hmm.
in season 2, which I'm down for, right? Like we know it's going to be a prequel to Rogue One, so those things have to happen. Obviously the execution matters, but I'm excited. Our friend Lynn's over at Stardust Records made a comment online that was sitting with me about the Death Star and the pieces of the Death Star that are floating above it in season 1. And as I was looking at it more, and I was like, there's 4 pieces of the Death Star. There's 4 arcs in season 2. So like I think she had made a comment along the lines of, is that going to signify like the passage of time or something like that? And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And like maybe the Death Star is sort of our anchor to say like, where are we? How close are we to its completion? And as we keep going a year ahead each arc. And I think that was
that's a
kind of
great
an
point.
interesting point.
That's a great point. Yeah. That's ominous. That feels bad. I hadn't thought about that at all. But yeah, that feels bad.
How much of Krennic do you think we're going to get? Like, you think he's going to be a front and center figure? Like, is Stardust going to be important? Capital I important?
I kind of think he's going to be pretty important. I think he's going to start weaving in with our heroes in various ways as it becomes more clear that like Project Stardust is a big deal for everybody. Because obviously we have to get to a point where it's like, oh, we need to find Jenna because her dad like definitely built this thing and like we need her.
Yeah.
So we're that's where we're heading. So I think he'll become increasingly more important as the season goes on. So that makes me think that like the wedding is not episodes 1, 2, and 3. Although if it is, and like, wait a second, if it is, and like that's the first appearance of Krennic where he's kind of like, oh, what a swell party. Hi, I'm just an Imperial officer and you are an Imperial senator. Look at this, us getting together in a nice social setting. And then he gets like increasingly more menacing over the season to everybody. Or everybody starts going, oh, he's kind of a threat. Yikes. I think that would be really interesting.
Right. And do people know he's leading a super weapon project? No. That's we don't know of the existence of the Death Star, but I think you're right. Like,
how do we figure out he's doing the super weapon project? Does Mama
exactly
become his bestie in order to figure out that they're doing the super weapon project? Wait, now I'm thinking. I wasn't thinking thoughts earlier, but now I am.
But yeah, I think like that's one of the big things is nobody knows about the existence of the Death Star. So when you think to the beginning of Rogue One, where Cassian's friend is like giving him a little bit of intel, name drops Galen, mentions a planet killer, and it's like, bits and pieces of information, but enough to set them on the path to finding Jyn.
Right.
But like, how does that information make its way to Cassian's friend? I guess is the question, right? And to me, I feel like that's going to be a big piece of season 2 is how does that leak happen? And Bodhi's connected in some sense. This friend is connected. I'm curious like where the dam breaks and maybe who in the circle of the Andor cast is partly responsible, right? Like does Cyril bear any responsibility because he's close to Daedra, who's probably close to Krennic? Does Saw or Saw's network help to figure some of this stuff out? So I'm just curious how all the pieces fit together to get us to a place where Rogue One kicks off, because the planet killer, the Death Star, has to be the end game, has to be the place where we are going to. And for Cassian, that's the thing that kills him.
Don't even talk to me right now. Right? Why would you say that on the pod? Like on
I know,
air?
I hate saying it. But it's so critical to who he is. It's like his last sacrifice.
I know, Brad. I know. We started with his end. I've been thinking about it for nearly a decade. Like I'm suffering. I remember thinking like when Rogue One came out, I was like, man, I really want the Cassian Andor book. Like, where's the Cassian Andor book? And I can't believe we've gotten something greater than like one book could have given us in terms of like story, his story and the birth of the Empire and also the birth of the rebellion. Like, what an incredible set of circumstances we find ourselves in today with regards to this part of the timeline. But it's kind of going back to your point about Krennic and our main characters and like who knows what and when, we get that shot of him, looking at a nearly completed Death Star. So I'm assuming that's towards the end. But I think some of the dramatic tension will come from the fact that like the audience knows more than our characters, because we know kind of how much of a shit Krennic is and also how dangerous it is. And we know like Mon Mothma at the very least will be in his orbit from the party. So I'm really curious to see how people feel about each other in that moment when they meet or when they cross paths, and whether they clock, the sort of danger that the other person is to their goals.
Totally. I'm so excited. I'm just so freaking excited. Ah. And I'm just excited to see who else shows up, because I think one important thing to mention is we do get pieces of Project Stardust and Rebels, right? Like Krennic appears in Rebels, so where's some of the connective tissue with Rebels? Like we can't,
oh my God,
we can't forget to acknowledge that show as part of the second season, as much as we acknowledge Rogue One
and Catalyst.
Right?
Catalyst too. Like that is the Rogue One prequel book. And then we have to think about Mask of Fear, which we'll talk about in its own episode, kind of as a birth of the Empire sort of thing. The story as it's coming together of this particular moment in the timeline is it's so complex. There's so many different parts of the Star Wars, because I had kind of forgotten about Rebels in that context. And I'm like, well, crap, now I have to go back to Rebels too to kind of build the whole timeline. This is ridiculous. This is so much work. What are we doing?
Is it work or is it fun work? Because now you got me thinking like maybe I need to rewatch some Rebels, and like that's never a bad thing because that show's a certified banger.
I mean, yes, it's so very good, but also like, holy cow, we're getting so many missing pieces of the timeline filled in throughout the story, like Mask of Fear, through this show, and then everything that's already existing in the canon. Like it's, I want to put it together a timeline, but I feel like that's going to take me some real time.
Ha, got it.
I've got the jokes today. I'm really
I appreciate that.
Yep. I'm here for you. This is born out of tiredness.
We're all just super tired. One thing I do want to say on the topic of Rebels though, and it's important to call out because nobody's talking about it, is Mon Mothma's hair.
Yeah.
Because there's a shot at 103 where looks like she's on Coruscant. She's walking into a party. There's like a cool looking droid that has like circle, like triangle light things going on with it. And we see the gentleman that she marries her daughter off to his son, and he's kind of like welcoming them into this big party. And you can see Mon's hair is her Rogue One hair, her Rebels hair. So I'm assuming that's happening like later in the show, and it's starting to make me wonder. Okay, we're seeing the Rogue One version of Mon, hair wise. So I'm like, are we gonna see her make the speech about the Gorman massacre when that happens, and that's like her final straw? And she leaves the Senate and like fully becomes a rebel at that point. I'm just excited to see her journey, and when she just decides enough is enough. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and seeing what she looks like from Rebels in this trailer like really kind of threw me for a loop to go, oh my God, Rebels, like wow, it's kind of wild.
Okay, the Gorman massacre took place in 2 BBY. Just putting things together in my mind a little bit here.
So that's probably like the third arc. So if we think of, what is it? It's 4 years leading up to Rogue One. So 2 BBY puts us at episodes 7 to 9, right? And then presumably that would be like her final hurrah in the Senate. And then episodes 10 to 12 is like full on Yavin base, full on Rebels. They're organized. They have a home base. How do we lead into Rogue One at that point?
Can you think about this? Let's say that you're setting up, machete order, release order, however you want to watch your favorite Star Wars stories. 10, 11, 12, Rogue One, 4. Episodes 10, 11, 12, Rogue One, 4. That's a whole watch in itself. That's like 10 hours of content.
That's like a saga.
That's like a saga all by itself.
It might be my favorite saga, I'll be real.
And you haven't even seen episodes 10, 11, and 12 yet.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's talk about the greatest. You know how we always joked like Alphabet Squadron is the greatest Star Wars trilogy like ever?
Okay, and I stand by that.
What is the
it's
greatest?
worth.
What is the greatest Star Wars saga? Actually, it's hear me out. It's Rots. It's the Mask of Fear trilogy.
Yeah.
It is then Catalyst. Or no, then it's Andor's season 1 and 2. Then it's Catalyst. Then it's Rogue One. Then it's A New Hope. And it ends with the
No.
Death Star blowing up. Happy ending. We all did it. Medal ceremony.
No, but it's more like Rots, Andor 1, Catalyst, Andor 2,
Yeah,
Rogue One,
yeah.
4.
I'm just throwing it all in there.
It's crazy though. But it's like that's crazy. I have a friend who has only seen Andor season 1, but also not the end episode, which is crazy because that's what I showed them. I showed them like the speeches in order to get them into the show, and they were like, "Yeah, that's incredible. I'm crying. I'll watch that." And hasn't finished a season. So this is a public call out to my friend. But then they texted me about the Rots 20. And I was like, yeah, buddy, it's going to be so hype. And I was like, you've only seen Andor, right? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, this is the situation that puts us in the situation that we get into Andor. Maybe you want to go see Rots with me? No context for the other prequels, but just Rots.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't mention it up front, but Rot's coming out 3 days after Andor season 2 drops, back in theaters.
The synergy,
I can't wait.
The corporate synergy goes absolutely crazy.
I will be on a flight.
The synergy with Friends of the Force goes absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah,
and our interests in particular.
I'm telling you, we're gonna have a banger year. I will be on a flight home from Japan. I will get off the flight. I will be super jet lagged, and I will be in the theater to see Revenge of the Sith with my popcorn and my soda.
I've pretty much decided that I'll be doing the same thing, but just a day later.
Yeah, like I'm not missing this. I'm not missing it.
No, but
There's just no way.
It also says starting April 25th, so I'm assuming that it'll run for a few weeks. Like
Hopefully.
I'm not sure. I
If
don't
they're
think it'll be
smart.
like a one and done because I'm a girly who was like, you know what? Let's go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we're Jungkook and we're singing 7. But instead of going crazy, we're just going to see the Star Wars every week. That's right.
Just remember Tuesday though, you have Andor movie. Andor
my
movie
bad.
night.
Monday. Oh, but also not Wednesday because Wednesday I have a class. So Monday, Thursday, Friday.
But then Thursday we have
Saturday.
to record for 5 hours
God.
about the Andor movie that we watched on Tuesday.
Monday, Friday. Monday, Friday. Saturday, Sunday.
Oh my
Monday,
god.
Friday. Monday, Friday,
We're
Saturday,
so
Sunday.
cooked.
Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every day it's out. Maybe that's when I get the AMC A-list for like 1 month.
It's worth it.
It probably would pay for itself that month.
I always say it pays for itself in just 2 visits. Like I just say that because it's drilled into my head from all the stupid ads that I've seen in the trailers in the movie. I'm just like, God damn it.
I have to tell
I'm like
you,
a spokesperson and I don't mean to be.
Really pay for itself, but then I got so mad at going to my local movie theater because the red fabric seats were kind of brown, and like that's when you know you need new seats. So I canceled my A-list, but maybe we get it back just for this one occasion. Anyway,
I think we're kind of coming to the end here, but real quick, do you have a favorite moment from the trailer? Just maybe something we haven't talked about, like an odds and ends for the trailer.
yes,
So I have one.
Well, I'm big fan of just Brasso existing, thrilling, no notes, delighted, but also Cassian and Bix hug. Yay!
Yes. Notably in the hayfield. So
That's
I'm
right.
wondering, was he shooting a transport maybe she was a prisoner on and he was rescuing her? It was a rescue mission?
Wow, those are some parallels. You're really doing it. It's like Star Wars, it rhymes.
My only odds and ends were the shot of Luthen. Looks like he was cooking something delicious.
Like
And
literally
he
cooking?
looks up. Yeah, like there's like steam coming up in front of him. So he's like in a kitchen, I'm assuming.
Maybe he's building a bomb.
He's cooking up he's cooking up rebellion in his kitchen.
That's what I'm saying. Well, isn't that his whole MO?
What are you cooking? A bomb. Oh.
What are you cooking? Rebellion?
I actually just wanted spaghetti, but okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been cooking for the last 15 years. Do you think I have any home kitchen skills? I've been planning rebellions over here. Galactic
Right.
rebellions.
Not you, Luthen, to be clear.
Oh, but I am
For the
Luthen in this
FBI
moment.
agent listening to our
Oh.
episode.
Yeah, FBI agent. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl.
The other odds and ends I have just is Bix and Cassian walking away from an explosion and they just blow something up. And I'm just like, yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions. I agree.
That's right. You're
Never-
absolutely right.
Never has walking away from an explosion looked cooler. And I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're on Coruscant, but like, wow, if they are on Coruscant, that's pretty bold.
Bombs on
bold.
Coruscant, kind of a big problem.
Yeah.
Very tall buildings, very city structures.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we love Andor Big Bad so much.
I can't wait.
I mean, the fact that
gosh.
the more we talk about it, like the more we just keep yapping, and the more that I like am watching the trailer on a loop silently, and also watching Rogue One at the same time silently. I'm like,
You're like iPad kids who like turned up to like 11.
yeah, but just for Andor. So it's like that one meme of the girl, and she, she's like all the Andor things around her, but iPad kid at the same time.
Yeah, you're like, I don't just want Cocomelon. I want Cocomelon and I want Bluey and you're like, no, I need Rogue One. I need Andor.
That's exactly it.
Audiobook of Catalyst in my ears also. And then I also want Mask of Fear print. And
then the Rogue One novelization as well. Alexander Freed killing me at all times. Just murdering my emotions. It's fine. It's cool. But one thing what we haven't talked about that I just want to like hit real quickly is we're on our lush green world. So whether it be Yavin or Dakar or any other foresty world where there are rebellion, and there's somebody assumingly dead on the ground. It's Brad.
It's me after I watch Andor season 2.
That's right. It's Brad. And then the X-Wings take off. And somebody was saying that these are the partisan X-Wings or partisan looking things. So what's happening there? Like, what's the tension between the, emerging rebellion as we know it and Saw's partisans? Because I don't want to spoil anything. Mask of Fear adds some really interesting layers kind of into that.
So you're speculating that maybe rebels showed up and the partisans are taking their ships, leaving them for dead potentially.
Something
a little bit of a skirmish. Yeah. Some
sort of skirmish. Some sort of I'm mad at you. Let me show you something by killing some people or something. I don't know. This is why I haven't really talked about it, because I have no answers. I just have questions.
Maybe he's just taking a nap. And I say he, I don't know the gender of this person that's lying on the ground, but maybe they're just taking a little nap, a little snooze,
I mean,
they're like, yeah, take my X-Wing for a stroll. I'm going to lay here and I'm going to get some sleep because rebellions are tiring.
I have a feeling that's not the case, but whatever makes us sleep a little better at night, maybe at this point, until we know for sure what happened here.
Right. Like different tone again for trailer, different tone for season. Everybody's just taking naps.
That seems healthy.
If there's any show that could make napping interesting, it'd be Andor. Let's be real.
You're right.
I will not be napping while Andor is on my TV. I will be plugged in. I will have my eyes glued to my television screen. I'm excited to hopefully get into the Andor panel at Celebration, which allegedly Celebration is not doing group lotteries.
It's not allegedly. They've said it so many times in emails to people. Okay.
So although there will be no fire alarms pulled at our panel this year, there will probably be a situation where one of us gets into the Andor panel and one of us does not, because that's just us. That's just our luck.
Literally the nightmare of my life. I was explaining this to my parents and being like, this is a bad situation no matter how it turns out.
We need to bring a chicken wing with us, like one of those like little wishbone things, and then we just like break it, and then whoever breaks it, like that's the only fair way to do it, I think, right?
Well, I think the walking man, the line guy, is going to decide who gets in and who doesn't. I think that's the version of the wishbone we're all contending with, whoever is traveling out to Japan.
Maybe the walking guy is the dead person in the footage of the Andor trailer. That walking man and the queue and the show clicks queue. It's him because I stabbed him multiple times when he didn't let me into the panel.
For the FBI agent listening to this episode, Brad is not a violent person, and he would
Yeah,
never.
to be very clear, I'm hypothetically speaking that I stabbed the show clicks Q man, who's been haunting me since 2019.
Right. I was in the queue today to look at pins. I didn't purchase anything. Wallet safe, but I was explaining to my mom.
Safe on Facebook.
I was explaining to my mom the despair I feel whenever I'm in the queue. So it's fun times out here as we prepare for Andor April and everything surrounding it.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, we got some fun times ahead. That's for sure. So we'll be back. Again, we're gonna probably have a little bit of a break in March as we prepare for Celebration. We're gonna be recording a lot of Andor April stuff so that like while we're traveling, we can have those episodes queued up and releasing on schedule. So that's our priority for the next 30 days or so. And we're leaving for Japan in just over a month. That is wild.
Great.
I'm gonna see you soon.
I know. It's exciting. I'm excited.
That's so cool. I can't wait. Well, for more from us here at Friends of the Force, you can follow us on all of our socials, including Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube, mostly the 3 that we're on. And follow the podcast wherever you listen. Drop us a review if you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us wherever you're listening so you get all of our Andor April episodes in your feed automatically.
That's right.
Pretty cool.
And alongside Andor April, don't forget that the Patreon is the only place that you can find our Andor rewatch recaps. I would like to find a better name for that because there's a lot of consonants that are really tripping me up there. But that's the only place you can find those episodes, which we're really looking forward to doing our rewatch. But thanks so much to all of our patrons who do help keep the lights on here at Friends of the Force. So thank you to Brian, Ben, Cheryl, Clay, Comet, David, Jennifer, Emma, Katie, Knights of Ren, Krista, Logan, Lucy, Lindsay, Matthew, Nicole, Rob, Ruth, Santa, Soul Catcher, Sky Talkers, Tom, Travis, Jules, Viglyph, and Andy. Thank you all so very much for your support. And thank you to everybody taking the time out of their day to join our silly faces in a conversation on a podcast format where you can't see our faces. It didn't really work as I was saying it, but I tried to make it work. And that's what it's all about. Please stay healthy, stay hydrated. And are you rewatching Andor to prepare for Andor season 2? Let us know. How are you rewatching Andor? Are you rewatching other ancillary content like we will likely be doing? Let us know. Stay well.
Don't forget to take your Andor vitamins, everybody. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.